We reached out to some of our viewers via Facebook and asked, why are you vaccine hesitant? And we had a chance to talk to a few different ages, races, political parties, and their specific reasons vary. Let's give it a listen.
My name is Diana, and I am from Johnston, Rhode Island. One of the reasons I decided not to get the COVID vaccine was because I do have an autoimmune disease. I didn't want to take the chance that I would exacerbate my autoimmune disorder. Seems that the more information and time goes by, there's more side effects that are more serious. Reading it, the risks outweighed the benefits for me greatly.
My name is Michael Duffy, and I'm from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. All of us have COVID. I ended up in a hospital with COVID. They put me on like a 3 milligram breathing oxygen. And after 3 days and the antiviral, I was perfectly fine. Now, my wife, who had it a year ago, she was in the house, no masks. We didn't quarantine all of us. We all walked around the house normally, and she never caught it again. I'm using my wife's example of 12 months, and her antibodies seem to have still been good.
I am Erin Rogers, and I am from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm not high risk. I'm not diabetic. I don't have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I work out 5 days a week. I really take care of myself. And so I also don't have any high risk people in my house.
It sounds like you're young, you're healthy, and you're banking on that.
For right now, yeah. And if something pops up, something changes, I absolutely have no problem with changing my mind.
Well, Robin, that's just a sample from some of our viewers. And they want to let everybody know they're not against all vaccines, but they have concerns about this one. And it was an overarching theme from others as well, that this vaccine was rolled out too quickly, and they're also concerned about potential side effects that may not show up for quite a while. Robin, back to you.
Mike, thank you for getting their insight on what's going on in their lives and their decisions up till now. Real people and their concerns. So now let's have a doctor address those. Dr. Perry Wilson, good morning. So let's talk specifically. 3 different viewers, 3 different cases. So let's talk about Diana.
Yeah, sure. And of course, that's what doctors are supposed to do. We're supposed to give you the best information we can, and you're an adult, you make your decision. I will say that the risk is really not vaccine versus no vaccine. The risk is vaccine versus COVID. And we do have good data to suggest that people with autoimmune conditions, just like other comorbidities, do substantially worse if they get COVID. And so there is significant risk here that strongly shifts the benefit in favor of vaccination. I often tell people, listen, the vaccine is a tiny piece of the coronavirus, the spike protein. The coronavirus is the spike protein and about 15 other proteins in a self-replicating envelope that can spread throughout your body and infect all sorts of different tissues. The little piece is going to do less damage.
Okay, and I hope if Rachel's helping, watching, that helps add to just her spectrum of knowledge there about our own situation. Let's talk about Michael. Michael's the one that says he's trusting antibodies from when he got COVID in March of this year. And I've heard this one, people who've said, oh, I already had COVID, so I don't have to get the vaccination, right? What say you?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question, and an area that we're still learning a lot about. The truth is, actually, yeah, if you've been previously infected, your risk of recurrent infection is substantially lower. We don't know how long that will last. A lot of people would say, hey, go for the belt and suspenders approach, right? Get vaccinated anyway. And we actually have some interesting data that suggests that people who are previously infected, once they get vaccinated, their antibody levels are significantly higher than people who had never been infected before. So in fact, the vaccine works really, really well in people who were previously infected. So something to consider if you're in that category.
Okay, and now to Erin. Erin was the one that said, I'm not a high-risk group, young and healthy, and she's more concerned about something long-term, down the road, that we don't yet know about the vaccination. What say you? Yeah,
and this is one that really hits close to home for me. I think back in April 2020, I was in the hospital. This was the peak of coronavirus in Connecticut. And I remember a patient who was 35 years old, younger than me, totally healthy, no comorbidities. He was a runner, actually, which was something that I try to run. And he was on ECMO, which is cardiopulmonary bypass, because the virus had so damaged his lungs that it couldn't exchange, they couldn't exchange oxygen with his blood. And he was on that machine for about a month before he died. I saw that early on in the pandemic. And, you know, if we had had vaccines available at that point in time, he would be alive today. And the fact that we have them now is a real reprieve. And I think people do tend to overestimate the risks of vaccination and really underestimate the risks of COVID. So I say, listen, just talk to a doctor who is in the hospital and who's cared for patients with COVID. This is nothing to mess around with. And, you know, I understand the hesitancy, but I hope in talking today, listen, Robin, if you and I have one person, if we convince one person to get a vaccine, we may have saved a life today. And that's a good start to the day.
Hey, Dr. Perry, thank you. And I wanted to thank, too, our 3 viewers there who spoke out about their hesitancies. And I hope this was helpful information. Diana, Mike,